everyone! It's been a hot minute since I've been on this channel, so welcome back if you've watched other videos. If not, welcome to my channel. My name's Talia and I do bookish things, bookish and TV-ish. I do bookish things on this channel, and today I wanted to come to you with a summertime reading recommendations from different genres and just books that I have read that I feel like are perfect reads for the summertime when you have a little bit more time in your hands and you can thoroughly enjoy these upbeat stories or very vivid characters. I have three main genres to discuss. That would be sci-fi / fantasy, literary fiction, and romance, because in my opinion, well, for me, there's no season to read romance. I just enjoy them throughout the year, but I feel like the summertime is specifically very romantic, so, I'm just gonna plop some recommendations here, and if you're interested, you can go pick them up. Without further ado, I'm just gonna jump into the books. So the first book we have to talk about is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this was a summer read of mine last summer when things went haywire and COVID blew up all around the world, and it was not a good time for anyone on the planet, I feel. So this book really provided me the necessary escapism, I feel, and I'm very, very thankful for that. The overall premise of the book is that it's a standalone, by the way. Sanderson is one of my favorite fantasy authors, and he writes so many books, but this one specifically is a standalone right now, and I feel like it's a very good place to start with his works. The magic system is very concrete, the characters are vividly described, the story is very much upbeat. Sanderson does an amazing job of keeping you on your toes, wondering what's going to happen next. So the premise is that there is a god king ruling over this kingdom, and this neighboring kingdom has a treaty with the god king in terms of sending a princess over to marry the god king when she's of age. So the older sister of this kingdom, older princess of this kingdom, Vivenna, has been training for this her whole life. The two countries have very different cultures, so she has been primed to survive in this drastically different culture she's gonna go into. But at the last minute, the king decides that he cannot part with his favorite beloved daughter, so he sends Ciri, the younger sister, in her stead, and things pick up from there. We discover the God King's kingdom through Ciri's eyes, and there's romance, there is action, there is political mischief. Vivenna is also on a quest to help her sister escape because she believes that Ciri cannot survive in this country. Overall, it's a very, very interesting story and world. I think Sanderson's worlds just capture you, encapsulate you, and they do a very good job of providing some escapism. The magic in this world is also very amazing. It's on an account of breaths, so it's thought that every person is born with a single breath, and those can be traded and to get money and such, but using that breath and drawing on colors of objects, you can bring objects to life, do other magical things, and I thought that was very interesting. And overall, I think this would be a very exciting read to embark upon this summer because no real reason. It's a beautiful book. Go read it. The second fantasy / sci-fi I feel book I have on this list is called This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amar El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. I don't know how to explain this book. This was the most beautiful thing I've read. I think I read it in the fall, but I don't remember exactly, but it's just a beautiful tale of two agents from enemy agencies during this thing called the Time War. And we don't know what world these guys are in, what start of the Time War, we're just plopped into the world and we're trying to figure out things from their accounts, and they also leave letters to each other wherever they go, whenever they go. There's time travel all throughout the story. And the overall book was so magical. The writing is really beautiful. Max Gladstone is a poet, as far as I remember, and it shows. The language is absolutely beautiful. A little flowery if you're not into that kind of thing, so I recommend taking it slow while reading this, because it also takes you a minute to understand and wrap your head around what the world looks like, how they travel to these different time periods, how they actually communicate with each other, and not everything gets resolved, but it's a beautiful sapphic love story between these agents, and it also gives you a glimpse of this absurdly beautiful world. Yeah, really enjoyed this one, and I think the vibrant world and the romance aspect of it makes it a perfect summer read. If you're into beautiful lyrical writing, I recommend you pick this one up. Okay, we have come to the literary fiction side of things, and the first book I have to recommend is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I was very late to the game for reading this book, I feel like, because I read it maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. It is a small town drama revolving around the themes of race, class, motherhood, and I think Celeste Ng did an amazing job of painting a portrait of society, but also these people individually, and highlighting their flaws, but also personifying them in a way that you get to understand their POV. They all think they're good people at heart, and that kind of draws your attention to how bad things happen, even though people have good intentions in their minds, from stemming from how they're raised, the norms they're in, the ideals they hold up. The premise is, I don't remember the town's name exactly, but this very upscale town experiences a political divide surrounding a adoption case. This rich white couple decide to adopt a Chinese baby who was dropped at the fire station in the town. But then the mother appears and demands her baby back. And there's debate over who is the deserving mother, if this person left the baby outside and couldn't take care of her. Does that mean she completely forgoes the right to be a mother? The right answer is not given to you, but I had the feeling that the story was leaning towards the baby staying with her biological mother, but also the town takes very different stances in this subject. A lot of different families are involved in this. We also follow a single mother, Mia, and her daughter Pearl, as they interact with their landlord, who are the Richardsons, who are very rich, and Pearl has relations with some of the Richardson children. Mrs. Richardson takes an almost alarming interest in Mia's past. The overall story gives you a deep dive into like the morals of race, class, ethics, motherhood, and I just thought the characters were amazingly real. We got enough from everyone's perspective to find some sort of justification to their actions. Not that the racist undertones of some characters are justified, but I think Ng did a good job of providing some sort of backing to their actions, and that made them very tangible characters in my mind. The whole book does have a tense feel to it as you read through. I had to stop multiple times and be like, this sounds so problematic, how does no one say anything? And it was aggravating at times, and I think that's what the author wanted to draw your attention to, and I think they did an amazing job. This was my first Celeste Ng book, and I'll definitely be reading more of their works, but the story itself is amazing. I think it's a good summer read because it's very short, but has a suburban, like, chill life, American suburbia vibes to it, so I thought it was a fitting read for the summer. Plus, the TV show is out, and Reese Witherspoon plays Mrs. Richardson, I believe, and I'm excited to delve into it, so maybe you can read it and then binge watch the TV series, because it's summertime. Maybe we have some more time in our hands. And then my favorite part of this list, we have come to my romance recommendations. I have 3 to 6 to recommend. That's confusing because the first thing I want to bring up is the Brown Sisters trilogy, which I counted as one recommendation, but never mind. Basically, these 3 companion novels are following 3 sisters, Chloe Brown, Dani Brown, and Eve Brown, as they embark upon very different journeys in their lives, and those journeys take a romantic turn. And all of these books are romantic, bantery. Oh my god. Talia Hibbert, tell me how you write that banter, because, like, I laughed out loud so many times while making my way through these books, and I just think they're such a fun read for the summer. They leave you with a giddy, warm feeling, and that's what I'm looking for in my romances, especially in the summertime. The second recommendation I have for the romance part is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I mean, I think this is obvious, and if you're around BookTube a lot, you probably heard about this book, but I'm gonna recommend it again. If you haven't read it, read it, because this romance takes place in the summer. Perfect recommendation. And it's a second chance romance where January and Gus know each other from college, and they had some sort of sexual tension between them, but then they got separated. They were both in the writing program, and they're both authors now, but January writes romance novels and Gus writes literary fiction. January views his writing as dark and broody and too sad, and Gus views romance as, a lot of people view romance actually just like a waste of space in the literary world, which I strongly disagree with. So the story revolves around these two when January goes to her dad's cabin, I believe, on Lake Michigan. That might be completely wrong, but there's a cabin, she goes there, and Gus is living next door. So they have this like second meeting of sorts, and they're both experiencing severe writer's block, so they decide to switch genres for their next book and Gus will write a romance and January will write a literary fiction, and they try and help each other throughout the writing process as well, which I love the creative aspect of the book when they try and understand each other's artistry. I just thought that was an amazing touch. There are also more heavy topics that they're grappling with in their own lives, so there is a heavier theme. It's not like a bubbly beach read at all, actually. So I think Emily Henry does a good job of balancing the, you know, swept away loving like romance story and real life, like trauma and dealing with personal issues too. If you haven't read it, read it and then let me know, because I love gushing about this book to people, with people. So that's that. And my last recommendation for this video will be an indie romance, and I got into indie romances last fall, I believe, and I am so glad that I did. So the book is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I did read more Penelope Douglas after this, but I feel like a lot of people regard this book as as her best work, and I have to agree so far. But it has a grittier feel to the other recommendations I gave in the under the romance, but I still loved it. It's a heavy, like, it's a teenage romance. Is it new adult? It's YA, I want to say. I hope I'm right. If not, I'm sorry. Just read the trigger warnings for this one because it's not as light and fluffy as the others. Just letting you know. But I love Punk 57 because it's sort of like a second chance romance, but not really. It's a pen pals romance. These people have not, Misha and Ryan have not met each other. Ryan goes to another school and Misha ends up moving to that town for some reason, I believe, and then they meet in real life, and there is a problematic issue here because Misha realizes that he sees Ryan, but Ryan doesn't know Misha is the person she's been like pen paling with. So when Misha meets Ryan, he realizes that she's a very different person to what he imagined her to be, and that disappoints him and aggravates him a lot, and then he doesn't tell her who he really is for a while, which is problematic, but I think Penelope Douglas does handle it pretty well. It is resolved in the end, and the tension, the emotions that both characters face, the notion of wanting to be this person with ideals versus cornering yourself into another persona socially. I thought it was a very real struggle, especially in teenage years, so I think that aspect of the story was amazing. It has really good sexy times and, you know, tension and brooding and pining over each other, and I really enjoyed this book so much. Again, cannot stress enough, go and check trigger warnings before you delve into it. Same goes for Beach Read, actually, because there is a death of a loved one. So for all of these books, I do not remember specific triggering points because I don't get easily triggered by the things I read, but I always urge you to check trigger warnings if you feel specifically sensitive to different topics. But that is all for the books I have to recommend for this summer. I hope that summer of 2021 will be a better time for everyone out there, and if you have specific summer reads that you'd like to recommend people or me, please leave them down below. I'm expanding on my to-read list for this summer because COVID is still happening, so I'll be inside reading a lot. Hope you do the same. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!